Welcome, Leslie, to our Labor Council's question that we have for you. My name is Henri. I'm the president of the Labor Council, and we have Jared here with the vice president, and we have Lindsey that's going to be, asking questions, and it's going to be a good night, good 30 minutes we have about. So, anyway, so to start it off, let's see if you want to, open it up. Go ahead.
Okay. I decided to run for mayor because my house was broken into in 2020, and I noticed that I wasn't alone in this problem. This was an ongoing problem with a lot of people in North Bay, and nothing was really being done about it. So I wanted to make some changes and make this place a safe place to live and call home. So that's why I'm running.
Okay, that's good. So we have some questions, but we're just going to try to do it in a fashion way. So back in 2017, in January 2017, we had some amendment done to the procedural bylaws in North Bay here, and but under the current provision, which is number 36.3, there was changes, and it reads like this. I'll read to you so that at least you're aware of what it is. So no person will be permitted to address council with respect to labor management dispute or issues, unless it's provided by the legislation or the collective agreement. Unfortunately, by changing this amendment actually over the years has expanded to prohibit working class person in North Bay from presenting to City Council labor issues. We used to have a 5-minute that you could do presentation, or there used to be 10 minutes where you tell the City Council, the city that you want to do a presentation, and then they allow you 10 minutes. They took away the 5 minutes that we have, and they also limited the amount of presentation to 3 of them, 10 minutes, and also if you're going to do a presentation to the City Council, you have to write it down what you're going to present and then send it to the clerk so many times before the date that you want to do it. And then they also decide after that who's going to do the presentation. So what we're asking here is, especially about the labor issues or what we can't present, we're asking that if you're elected, would you support to look at this amendment that they've done and this bylaw and see if there's any movement that you could make as a mayor with your councillors?
Absolutely. Everyone should have the ability to come in and speak. And if they're only doing meetings every 2 weeks and then only 3 people are able to do that, there's not a lot of people throughout the year that are able to speak. If you're not going to voice your concern there, where are you going to voice it? So, yeah, absolutely. What I would want to do, like if they're going to so say there's not enough to do every week, I would like to have 1 week open for the public to come in. Here, you've got 2 hours, everybody come in, first come, first serve, speak. And then the second week, that's when we go over the other issues. I have no restrictions. If Labor Council wants to come in, let them come in. Like that's, why we're there, to hear everyone's concern, my opinion.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you. So this may go actually nicely with your reasoning for running. But as mayor, what immediate action and support would you provide to help with the housing crisis and those experiencing homelessness in North Bay?
I want to take the money that we're getting from the casino and use that to buy either homes, because there's going to be some people that need extra help, so run them kind of like a group home, and where they have counseling, where they learn life skills, budgeting, cooking, whatever life skills they might need. They're all at different levels. And then I'd like to use some of the money to also by tiny houses and maybe make a tiny house community, because I've been speaking with a bunch of different people, and one lady I spoke with said group house won't work for her. She lost her job because she lost her house, and now she can't get a job because she's not in the right frame of mind because there's so much going on at the low barrier shelter. So if she had a tiny house where she's by herself, she can just get on with her life. And I want to have these like rent free for 6 months too, so they can build up enough money to get their own place, move out, and then bring in the next group of people. So I want to do both. Affordable housing is a huge issue right now. One of the things I want to do, and this didn't really go over well with some people, but there's a lot of Airbnbs in North Bay. And I'd like to try and limit that, because it's taking up, like, instead of you spending $1,500 a month on rent, they're making that in 3 days. So if we can limit that, there might be more places available. I was talking with Nipissing University, and they're short, I think they said 100 places for their students. They're like doubled up, and you can't learn like that. Like that's not right. So we need to look into that. So after that meeting, I started thinking back to the tiny houses, because they are cheap, right? If we could maybe have some space up at Nipissing too, and that would take care of the housing problem for the students. Just make another, instead of making more high rise, just make some smaller places. But as far as affordability goes, we need to put a cap on it. It's ridiculous. I don't rent. I don't think I could afford, on my wages, I don't think I could afford to rent. I'm glad I own my house. So we need to make some changes, whether that's the city buys some places and rents them out, not to make a profit, but just to help some people live. That's something I want to look into.
I like that you brought up development and the idea of tiny houses or small houses. When I think about it, though, I think about that development is like really, really important here, municipally speaking, for revenue, for all sorts of reasons. And as I understand, the building codes make it pretty tough in Ontario and municipally to have something really sensible like a tiny home development. What do you think about? How is that possible if we have the building codes that prevent that kind of thing? Because who's going to make the money, right? You know what I mean?
We need to make some changes all around.
Okay.
I've stated this numerous times. I have no political experience. I have no political agenda. I just want to make everybody feel safe, have a roof over their head, and not have to choose, do I pay my rent this month or do I eat? So if we need to make some changes to make development a little bit easier, then let's do that.
Okay. I have more question here about just development in general, and I'm going to look at it. And I'm working on bringing my question around to what you've been talking about. But this is the thing, we're not sure about development. The average voter, citizen, property owner, I just don't know how it works. And it always seems like there are those making lots of money and those who are left out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in some ways it comes down to an issue of transparency. Some questions about openness and transparency from City Hall with regard to involving public consultation on matters of development. Seems like an interesting thing. What's your thoughts about that kind of thing?
I think we need to be completely transparent. I want to know where everything is being spent. I think that's our right as tax-paying citizens to know where our money is being spent. I'm an open book. Why hide things? Why keep them under wrap? Then if everybody knows where the money is going, then there might not be such an uproar if something else needs to be spent.
Chairman, that okay?
Yeah, sorry.
So
That's it.
Climate change is a big thing now.
Yes.
We see it all across the world right now, how bad climate change is. And so what kind of initiative or policies that you would try to bring to North Bay to change climate change at the at the net zero or building?
I don't know enough about climate change to throw out a ton of ideas here, but Nipissing University does have the Environmental Research Department, so I think that's a good place to start, unless maybe someone else knows enough about it to make the necessary recommendations. But I think someone had suggested to me about changing over the city buses to electric buses. I don't think we can afford to just throw out the buses that we have, but maybe new ones that we buy could be electric. If we the no idling ban is for schools, but if we make that through all of North Bay, that would be good. And we need to look into the streetlights moving together. Like, you should be able to drive down Lakeshore without getting every red light. That would stop a lot of the emissions. We can try and ban plastic, one-use plastic things, but that's as far as my knowledge goes on the changes we can make. But we do need to make changes, and I'm open to that.
Okay.
All right. So, what is your position on privatization and the contracting out of public services? This includes public-private partnerships, or P3s.
So like for hospitals and stuff like that, you mean, or just
within the municipality? But the hospital is a great example of a P3.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so I'll use the hospital as an example because I'm healthcare, so
Sure.
I know that. We shouldn't be making money off of health. Like, that should be public. It should be it is publicly funded, but I don't think that this guy over here has more money, so why should he get better care than me? So yeah, I'm kind of against privatization of services that should be offered.
Right. Awesome, thank you.
Just don't ask where I work.
It's all good.
So on the P3 though, you said that that everything should be public, and I mean the good example is the hospital where we built a hospital in the P3 and they thought it was going to be good, and they built it, and now we still have 23 years to pay for it, and a lot of the stuff is happening through P3 that's is not under control of the staff, the people, because now they have to start paying their stakeholders. So so P3s, you're right. Jared.
Just returning back to the idea of development in our municipality.
Yep.
A good example of transparency and curiosity, I guess, that people could have around how does this happen. A low barrier development structure on Chippewa Street near Chippewa High School is underway or being built or at some stage in the process. And so I work beside it, and when we talk with students and parents, and we talk among ourselves too as education workers, we don't know how it happens. We're like, how did it get to be there? And it seems really mysterious. And when people sort of try to make phone calls to ask counselors or anybody else, they're like, it's still unclear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's transparency like that.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like, how do you feel about that kind of thing?
The location of that low barrier shelter is just, I agree. Who came up with that idea? Between schools and nursing homes, I would like to know what the thought process was there, because it's and someone who lives in that area, it's not good. Like, the area has deteriorated since that went down. I don't know where there's a good place to put it, but I mean, they need it somewhere. But yeah, we need to be open about where that went. If someone calls to ask a question, you shouldn't have to. I do know there are some rules. I'm not completely up on all of the rules, but you shouldn't have to wait for months to get a freedom of information thing when you call in. I've called in for a couple things and I've been waiting, like the things that I need to know, and it feels like you have something to hide. Like it's pretty embarrassing to be named the city with the most secretive city. That's embarrassing, and I would not want that if I was mayor.
I live downtown as well, and it just seems like everywhere I look, on an escarpment or on a lake or further away from downtown, there's development, and just doesn't seem to be the interest in investment in downtown. Like, it just doesn't seem like it's happening.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, what do you think?
I think it's because of the way downtown looks. If I'm going to spend money on development and I see a bunch of people sleeping in the doorways of businesses, I'm not going to put my money there. I would rather develop in a safer area.
So what kind of policy would you come out with? Right now we see a lot of the homelessness. We see a lot of crimes happening. What's your thought on what's happening that this is not really taken care of?
We need to look at what the police need. Like, maybe it means more officers. Maybe it means they're just allocated differently, but something isn't working. So we need to figure out what that something is and go from there. Like, I realize this is happening all over. It's not just North Bay, but it doesn't have to be North Bay either. We can do something to make it not North Bay. Like, make North Bay the place where people want to come and develop and invest in and move here. And I don't know how exactly to do that. I put in a call to the police. I'd like to hear their opinion on it. Like, what can I do for you if I become mayor? Still waiting to hear back, but it would be nice to have their input on it, because they know firsthand what exactly it is that they're dealing with. I know there's a lot of catch and release. So there's, it's kind of, you arrest the same person twice in the same morning. Why go and arrest her again? So I know that has been an issue.
One thing we hear, and I think everybody here can relate, is that the provincial government has been continuously making it more difficult for municipalities to raise money, manage things, the issue of houselessness or issues of poverty, but yet we don't hear a municipal council standing up and saying, "Hey, provincial government, why are you doing this to us?" We never hear that. Would you be able to stand up against provincial government?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I can be annoying if I need to be, and I have no problem standing up. We need things. We need help. We're a population of 56,000 people. We can't afford it. We can't afford everything on our own. We need help. And I have no problem petitioning the other levels of government for that help.
Leslie, you want to ask anything else?
I'm good. No, I think thank you for taking the time and your thoughtfulness of your answers. Wish you well.
Thank you.
So we'll give you a few minutes if you want to, wrap it up. Other thing you want to say that we didn't discuss here that you want to.
If anybody has any specific concerns and you want to reach out to me, McVeety for Mayor on Facebook. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to look into it, because I want to make this a place for everybody to feel welcome and safe and heard, basically. So you can reach out to me there. And yeah, we need, things aren't going to happen overnight. The there's a lot of problems out there. We need to work on it, but let's start today. Let's not wait until it gets worse. It is getting worse. We need to bring this in and work together now. So
Okay, so last call. Anything else?
no, I'm okay.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming out tonight, and it was good chatting with you. And,
Yes, you too. Thank you
and
for
we'll see
inviting me.
what